with Samantha and Gordon and
Michelle Summers.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, but great. We've been chasing you for a couple of months now to get you here, but you've been very busy because of, well, you are a great author, but you're also an award-winning author now.
Oh. Yes.
Tell us about this wonderful award.
Sounds so nice.
Oh, yes.
Well, before you're an author, becoming an author is quite a big thing, but then once you are an author, becoming an award-winning author.
Yes. That was a special night.
Yeah.
It was a very special night. So would you like me to go through?
Yes, tell us what you won.
Okay, so Romance Writers of Australia, of whom I'm a member, have a conference every year, and they have several competitions that you can enter, and one of them for a published author is the Ruby, or the Romantic Book of the Year. So Lethal in Love, my debut novel, I entered that into the Ruby. You have your fingers crossed and you hope that you're going to win, but you're up against a lot of amazing, multi-published, multi-talented authors. So
it's a great title, though. It's a good one.
Thank you. And that was my original title too. I was so lucky that my publisher kept that title because I loved that title. That was my working title. And one day I was driving in my car, taking my child to the doctor because he'd just broken his arm, and I get a phone call from someone from RWA saying, "Oh, by the way, you finaled in the Ruby." Nearly crashed the car, screamed. But and then at the awards night I was sitting there listening to, there were 4 of us in the finals, and I really, really did not think I'd won, but I was sitting there thinking, please say Michelle Summers, please say Michelle Summers. And then I heard my name and it was like, okay, did I think that? Did that actually really happen?
Yeah.
Could be very embarrassing if you stood up. No, it was Michelle.
Somebody else. And so walked up onto the stage hoping that I wouldn't trip because I don't often wear heels, and I was wearing heels that night, and accepted the award, and it was an amazing feeling. And I'm still buzzing, I think, about that.
Yeah, fantastic.
Good, well done.
And what do you think has come, obviously it's a bit of notoriety and you can say you're an award-winning author.
That sounds so good.
Do you think it gave you some buzz as well? Do you think...
It did give me some buzz, and what it meant also is my book originally came out as a 6-part serial, so in 6 episodes.
Oh, sorry, what does that mean? So how would people buy it and things?
Well, basically, it was released fortnightly. Each episode was released fortnightly, and you could buy it as it came out. So it was like, the old Stephen King Green Mile, when that came out as 12 parts, and it was released on I think it was a weekly basis. So it was the same kind of concept, but via ebook.
Yeah.
Why did they choose that for you?
I think I was a guinea pig.
Oh.
It was basically to see whether this was something, and I think a lot of people are starting to do serials. There are quite a few serials out there. So it was basically just a trial to see whether that would be something that people would embrace. Yeah. And some people did. Some people loved it. Some people not so. Yeah. But that's basically the way my book was first released. And my finaling in the Ruby actually made my publisher stand up and say, oh, okay, maybe we need to package these together now and relaunch this book as one ebook. And that's exactly what they did. So I got a new cover and they relaunched it the weekend of the conference.
Right.
And of course I won, and that was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's been a bit of buzz, and, people are starting to recognise the book, and which is awesome because I've got my new book coming out next year. So
okay, we'll talk about that.
Yes, so it's all happening, really.
Yeah, fantastic. And so, what got you into this genre? It's
romantic suspense.
Yes.
Wow. I love romance. I've read romance as long as I could find romance to read. And I love suspense. I love crime, mysteries. I grew up on, the Nancy Drews and the, I don't know if anybody has ever heard of Encyclopedia Brown even. That was the really basic books. And the Hardy Boys, all of those kind of, and then Trixie Belden, Agatha Christie, you work your way through. So I love all of that stuff. And for me, I'm always looking for a book that has 50% romance and 50% suspense, and there's not a lot out there.
Yeah,
They tend to lean towards one or the other.
Yeah.
So for me, this is my genre that I really enjoy. So I thought, if there's not much out there, why don't I just write a book that does what I want it to do? So, and that's basically where Lethal in Love came about. That it really is 50% romance and 50% suspense.
And so did you find once you'd written it, and it's great that you went ahead and wrote something that you want to read, I always think that's a great idea. Was it hard to find a publisher, or did publishers go, great, we've actually been looking for something like this?
It's interesting. It was a very long book.
Right.
And I think that's why it fitted the serial so well.
What was your word count?
It was 140,000.
That is long.
It is long. And I really didn't want to cut anything, and I really felt that every scene that I had in that book actually earned its place there. It was doing something. So, I had quite a few offers and people saying to me, look, we'd love to take it on, but cut 20,000 or 30,000 words.
Right.
And I'm like, well, where would I cut that? So I was very lucky in 2013 that I got to sit in front of two editors and 2 agents, and I actually pitched my book. I got 4 requests, and one of those was from Lex Hurst from Penguin Random House.
Wow.
And she requested a partial in my synopsis, which I sent along.
Yeah.
And within 24 hours of receiving that, she actually got back to me and she said, I've read your partial. I love it. Send me the whole thing. And I was
good news.
Yeah.
It was very good news.
That's the kind of letter email you want.
It is. So I sent that off.
Yeah.
And within a week I had an offer sitting there, which was pretty amazing. So, and it's been a whirlwind ever since.
Yes.
So you pitched, one day you got a please send more, and then one week you got an offer from that. Geez, that's pretty good.
She was amazing. I think she loved Lethal in Love almost as much as I did. And I think that was what made it so amazing, actually working with her on the book the whole way through in terms of the editing process, because she had such an affinity for it and a passion for it. It was amazing working with her, and it was that whole collaborative process where she would come back and say, look, this is great, but I think you need to expand on this, or you need to, and then I'd say, yeah, okay, that's good, and then she'd say, what about tweaking this? And I'd go, oh, do I have to, kind of thing. And then we'd come to this kind of midway point where we both agreed on what to actually do with the book. And it was a great first experience for me in terms of working with an editor. It was
sounds like you had a great, I mean, it's not everyone's experience, but that's great that you had that.
Yes, I was very, very lucky. She was awesome.
Yeah. And so moving forward to your second book, with the same publisher?
No, I'm actually going down the self-publishing route for the second one. So I want to try a little bit of the both worlds. Yep. And I want to see what the difference is. I'm enjoying what I'm doing so far in terms of having control over my book. Yeah. I have a copy editor that's just recently, she's just given it back to me, so I'm going through those edits. Yeah. And being able to choose what my front cover looks like, and being able to choose how I present that book and when it comes out, and being able to do paperback, because for me and for most, I think, authors, you want to have that actual physical thing.
Smell it.
Yes. Yeah, you do want to. But I'm actually not a book sniffer, but if I get my own book, I will sniff that book.
Now, is this because the 50% romance, 50% suspense sounds quite interesting, because it's very similar to Our Marriage. Okay,
you can try and work out which.
Will he have cleaned put the clothes through the washing machine and hung them out? Will he have done that? Because there will be romance if that's happened,
and if not, there will be.
So this next book is
crime.
That'll be the lethal part. But is this next book the same? Is it 50-50?
Yes.
That could be your publishing house name, 50-50.
50-50. I actually have a publishing house name that I'll publish under my own publishing house name, Thrasher Publishing, which is actually mentioned in my second book.
Oh, okay.
Because my second book has a romantic suspense author, funnily enough.
Yes.
And a homicide detective.
Right. That's a good story. I like that.
Yes. So
I quite like it. Yeah.
When fact and fiction start. The lines between that start to get a bit blurry. Yeah. A serial killer is born. So there you go.
Is
That's a teaser.
there a romance between the writer and the
Yes.
serial killer?
No.
What?
No. There are certain places that I do not go.
Yeah.
That is one
That's a
thing.
good idea. Now, you've just released a book called, or a short story, I should say, called Cold Case, Warm Heart.
Yes.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that, because it's people can pick that up now.
It's
another
interesting.
good name.
Yes. Thank you. I thought I would have a go at writing a short story. In fact, I belong to a romance writers group called Melbourne Romance Writers Guild. And for our 25th, our silver anniversary last year, we decided to do an anthology. And we decided to get together a collection of short stories from published and unpublished authors in our group, and put them together and bind them.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge for me because I write long, as you know, 140,000 words.
Yeah.
Short for me was a challenge.
Yeah.
And I managed to write something that was under 9,000 words, and I was so proud of myself.
Wow. Yeah, you should be.
So that was Cold Case, Warm Heart, and
Right.
it's another serial killer, romantic suspense,
Right.
and 24 hours to catch the killer.
Excellent.
So, and that came out last year, and I've got my rights back now. After a certain amount of time, we were allowed to put that out there. So I've actually put that out there into the realms as a short story. And yes, and it's doing okay so far. It's only been out for a couple of days, so
Oh, great.
got a few sales already. So if anybody
Fabulous.
wants to have a look,
So where do you
Cold Case, Warm Heart.
download it if you
That's
want?
on Amazon at the moment. I haven't got it anywhere else
Mhm.
yet.
Amazon's pretty big.
Yeah, I'm sure most people have heard of it. But you can go to your website,
Yes.
which is
www.michelle-summers.com.
yeah, and you can find all the details there. But so tell us, are you interested in crime? Are you frustrated? Wanted to be a
Forensic scientist.
forensic scientist, or is it
I'm
just
fascinated with forensic science.
Yeah.
I studied microbiology and genetics at university way
okay.
back too many years ago to mention. And
so you have an understanding of the science of it?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I've always had a fascinated for the crime and not even so much the forensics, but also the psychology behind why people do what they do. And I think that's why I love romance and suspense so much, and the psychological thriller type stuff so much, because of course there's psychology behind the romance, and why certain couples are attracted or not attracted, or why they fall in love and how they fall in love.
Yeah.
But there's also that suspense element with a killer and what makes a killer.
Yes.
And you know, two people from exactly the same background, and what makes one want to fight crime and the other one want to go out and wreak havoc. So I love that, and I think that's why I write what I write, because I get to research that and really delve deeply into people's minds.
I saw a CSI, like a real life CSI officer, talking about the CSI programs, and the reporter said to them, what's the main difference between, and she goes, well, for a start, we don't walk around with torches, we turn the light on. All of that shows they're all holding torches and waving those around when no, just we flick the light on. So she said that was the main difference, but
I love that.
There's a lot of differences between, which I guess with your background in science
Yes.
you're able to bring a level of realism to your books.
I do. And look, I have a little bit of forensics in there, but really my books are mainly character driven, so it's really all about the character. So there aren't a lot of descriptions of setting. There'll be a little bit feathered in there, not a lot of descriptions of characters. I leave a lot of that to the imagination of the person, but I basically drive the plot through the characters and their actions and their motivations and basically what they're wanting to achieve in that story. That's what actually drives the story forward. So
And is there a sense of the hunt and the clues being uncovered and that sort of thing?
Yes, and the red herrings and the dead ends and the hopelessness and then, you know, towards the end, well, I need to find this killer before they find me type thing. So there's a real sense of suspense.
And when you're writing, do you find that, I mean, all writers find this when there's a point where they're like, I don't know where this is going. I have no idea what they're doing. But yours is with a lot of clues and red herrings, as you say, put in there as well. Do you find sometimes lie in bed and go, I don't know. Yes. No idea what is going on, even in my own story at the moment. So you have that.
There are sometimes that happens. It's interesting. If I don't think about it too much, I have a tendency, the thought process tends to flow a lot easier. And I know that sounds really strange, and I think a lot of writers would be able to associate with this when they say that often my characters tell me what's happening, or often my characters actually guide me in a direction that I did not see coming. And I've had situations when I've been writing something and then something has happened or somebody's died or something, and I'm like, oh my God, I did not see that happen. And I was at a library talk last night at Mill Park Library, and I was talking to the group of people who had come there, and I actually said that in my first book, Lethal in Love, there was a character in that I had it in my mind that I was going to write another book and she was going to be the lead character in that book. Well, I killed her, didn't I? So that's not happening. Well, I didn't kill her. The serial killer didn't, and I had no control over that because he did that off his own bat. Yeah. So that book's down the drain. So yes, sometimes these things happen and you don't really see them happening.
And because you do 140,000 words, when you are writing, what's your sort of word count for the day? You know, some writers are at 500 words, but you'd be writing for
I'm a slow writer.
Oh, okay.
And I write very clean drafts. So I have a tendency, I'm one of these people that does what a lot of people say don't do. Yeah. I edit as I write. Yeah. And what that does is that helps my process as well, because I'll go back and I'll get back into whatever I've written the day before. I'll go back and I'll read and I'll edit that and I'll get back into their point of view and I'll get back into their minds, and then the writing comes a lot smoother by the time I get to where I was up to. And you always finish in the middle of a scene, you never finish at the end of a scene. So that you know where the scene's going, so you've already got somewhere to go before you get to something where you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do now? Because the juices are already flowing, you've warmed them up, something. So
okay, that's an interesting process. I always wonder if it's different for different genres. You know, I guess I never know unless I write another genre.
It's definitely different like every writer talks, like when you see people quoting how they do it, like some people get up at 6 and they write till 10 and then they have the rest of the day off. I mean, it's just whatever your thing is,
whatever works,
gets it done.
I think that's right. And everybody has a different process, and I think it's one of those things when you start writing, you try lots of different ways until one kind of works for you, and then you go with it.
Yeah.
And what I do wouldn't work for a lot of people. Some people, you know, I mean, Stephen King, he writes a very, very, very dirty draft. Yeah. And then
publishes it straight away.
And he's pretty awesome. And he sells a lot, yes. But, you know, he can do that, and that's what works for him, and then he'll spend months and months or whatever editing it. But it wouldn't work for me. No. I couldn't leave something not right and continue writing. For me, I have this orderly mind that has to have that, not perfect, but good before I go on.
Move forward. Well, I mean, Stephen King hasn't won the RWA Review Award, so I don't think he has anything to offer here.
Exactly right.
Well, congratulations on your first book being an award winner now, and your short story.
Huge expectations coming up for the second book, though.
No pressure.
We didn't want to put it on you, but there's huge pressure. No. So, we can't wait to see it. Hopefully you'll come back and talk to us about your next book.
I would love to, thank you.
And thanks for coming out here in fun town Werribee to come and talk to us today.
It's lovely to be here. Thank you so much. I've had fun. I don't want to go now, can I say?
Well, there's the door, Michelle. No, I'm just joking. I'm only joking. It's lovely to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Sam.